Hello, welcome to 4 Steps for Initiating Difficult Conversations and Succeeding at them, at getting a good outcome. My name is Carla Caldwell. My background is in nursing and health coaching and communication. I'm very passionate about the power of communication. So, welcome if you're joining me live, and welcome if you're watching the replay. The 4 steps I'm going to share with you work with work experiences, business experiences, and at home. But for the sake of today, I'm going to talk about a work experience. So the example I'm going to use to illustrate the 4 steps is I have noticed that someone on my team has repeatedly been missing our meetings. And they've missed so many that it feels pretty intentional to me. And these are important meetings, working meetings, we have a deadline, etc. So that's the example. But please know these steps can be applied to any difficult conversation. And if you'd like a little more guidance, in the comments, let me know, what are some of the difficult situations or conversations you are wanting to initiate? And I can tailor the 4 steps. So step number 1, remember the example is I have a team member. They are repeatedly not coming to our meetings. These are working meetings. We have a deadline. I'm like 99.9% sure they're intentional. And I'm kind of aggravated about it. Actually, I'm very upset about it. Before we even get into the 4 steps, I really want to encourage you, when you are going to have a difficult conversation, make sure that you are calm and collected. Wait until you're calm and collected. It's really hard for these steps to work if you come in upset. And the first step is approaching the person, name the difficult topic, taking the emotion out of it, just be very specific, name the topic, and then ask permission to discuss. What this would look like for the example I'm sharing is, hi Bob, I noticed you've missed the last 4 out of 5 meetings on the following dates. Would it be okay if we talked about it? That's it. So no, I noticed you missed all meetings. Be very specific and accurate. Take emotion out, name the item, and ask permission to speak about it. If they say no, you could say something like, when would be a good time to discuss? I find in my experience, most people are willing, but if you do get a no, at least you know they're not ready and you can set up a follow-up time. So step number 2. Ask non-judgmental, open-ended questions with the goal of getting as much information as possible. I already have some assumptions about what is going on, but step number 2 asks us to put on our curiosity hat, ask non-judgmental, open-ended questions with the purpose of gathering data. So what it would look like in this scenario is, would you mind sharing with me why you've been missing the meetings? Let them talk, be silent. And when you find a little break, you could say, tell me more. You want to get as much information as possible. So non-judgmental, open-ended questions. Like, tell me why this is happening. Please share if you have any concerns about these meetings. Is there anything stopping you from attending these meetings? These are all non-judgmental, open-ended questions that help me gather more information. Step number 3, when having these difficult conversations. After the person has answered your questions, make sure you understand the information you have shared. So number 3 is all about confirming your understanding. And the best way to do that is to summarize what they've shared. So Bob, let me make sure I understand. You are missing the meetings because of X, Y, and Z. You have the following concerns, etc., etc. This is not a time to give any opinions about the information that's shared. The whole purpose of step number 3 is to make sure you understand what Bob is trying to tell you. When you're done, make sure you confirm by asking Bob, am I understanding your situation? Is there anything else you want to share? Make sure you understand and confirm understanding. This part is really important. It's critical because you're showing that you're listening. It really helps Bob to relax a little bit because he sees you're trying. You're trying to understand. It helps you too because the next step, you need to make sure you're understanding everything that's going on. So step number 4, last step. Ask permission to share feedback or suggestions. So after you've confirmed you understand what's going on, you can say something like, Bob, I feel like I understand what's going on. Can I share some feedback? Feedback might look like in the situation of, I understand why you haven't been able to attend, but the reality is that your presence is critical. Or you may be able to say something like, Bob, is it okay if I share a suggestion? And maybe the suggestion is a logistical one. Bob, it sounds to me like this is not the best time to meet. Please let the team know what times work best for you. Or if Bob's having a challenge, you can coach Bob in what he can do to address those challenges. So let's repeat these 4 steps. Now, I find when I use these, it improves my success rate over 50%. Success rate meaning that I'm able to have the conversation and able to leave that conversation with desirable, positive outcomes. Now, the more I practice, the better it gets. So that is another, I want to affirm everyone that the first time you try this, it may not work out completely smoothly. It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to improve. So let me repeat the 4 steps for initiating a difficult conversation and succeeding at it. Number 1, approach the person you want to speak to and specifically name why you want to talk to him or her. No emotions, just name the reason without emotion, and really be careful of every and all, that type of language. And then ask permission. Is it okay if we speak about this? If they say no, then ask when would be a good time. If they say yes, you move forward to step number 2. So just by asking permission and just by naming the topic very specifically without emotion, it really supports building trust and hopefully decreasing some of the defensiveness that can come up when we have difficult conversations. Number 2, asking non-judgmental, open-ended questions with the intent of understanding what is happening with the person you're speaking to. Non-judgmental, open-ended questions. And you're just trying to understand where this person is coming from. I really encourage a curiosity mindset at this point. Step number 3, summarize what you've heard. Reflect it back to the person you're speaking to. The purpose of this is to show that you are listening, to build trust, and also to confirm you understand. That is critical. A lot of times I find that what I was assuming happened wasn't what happened. And just the asking open-ended questions and reflecting back makes it very simple to create a solution. Maria, I see your question, and I would love an example. If you could give an example, I will apply this these 4 steps to dealing with narcissistic people. I will try my best. That's kind of a tough one because I find sometimes communication is very challenging in those situations. But if I have a specific example, I can try to help. And then the last step is ask permission to share feedback and suggestions. Okay, I hope that is helpful. And Maria, I'm going to be looking out for your a specific example. Not that you need to name names, but just let me know what type of a situation are you speaking to. And if I have an understanding or experience and know what to do, I will tell you. If not, I'll be honest. And I'll respond in the comments. Oh, someone who blames you or the group for their inability to participate. Well, okay, let's take that example. And again, this isn't perfect every time, but if there is a chance for understanding, I find these 4 steps help. So if I had someone who's blaming everyone, they don't want to participate because that person does this, you do that, everyone's doing something and they can't participate, then I would try to approach them one-to-one outside of the group. And I would ask, I would say, you know, I've noticed that you've verbalized your inability to participate due to specific actions from our group. I would like to learn more. Is it okay if we discuss this? And then they'll either say yes or no. If they say no, you can ask when would be a good time to follow up. Or if they say yes, you can go to step number 2, where you might ask, help me understand what, from this person in particular, I would want to know, how would you like to participate? What would inspire you to participate in this group? What are you interested in participating in? I would want to learn what this person is willing to do, what they're interested in, and why they want to participate. I wouldn't want to propel talk of, well, I can't do this because of that person. I can't, since you already know all those reasons, they're being very vocal. I would want to ask some open-ended questions regarding, what are you willing to participate in? What are you interested in? What do you think can be done better in this area to improve our outcomes, etc. And then listen to them. Step number 3 stays the same. You reflect. You say, let me make sure I understand what you're sharing with me. You are interested in these topics. You would be willing to participate if you could do it by yourself or in the morning. I don't know what they're going to say to you, but you want to reflect. And you want to make sure to confirm understanding by saying, am I understanding? That is what you're interested in regards to participation. And then step number 4 would be, can I share a suggestion? Or can I share some feedback? And maybe they share some ways that they're willing to participate, and you might have a solution. I mean, maybe if they're interested in a solo project or something completely different, you might be able to share, can I share some feedback or suggestions? Your efforts may be utilized best in this other work group. Let's see if we can get you into that group. Or it sounds to me like you're interested in working by yourself. I'm not really sure what they're going to answer to you, but the step number 4 stays the same, asking permission and sharing any feedback and suggestions. I hope that's helpful. Again, sometimes when people are not wanting to participate and are really against it, there's not anything you can do, but your chances of getting cooperation increase significantly if you utilize these steps. If there's a possibility, for something to change, you are now enabling that possibility through using these 4 steps. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for giving that example. And I want to thank everyone who's watching and anyone who watches the replay. Please share if you find it helpful. Share it out to your network. And I am rooting for your success. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining.